pamoja na tukue pamoja kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Good afternoon, Kenya. Now, welcome to another bountiful episode of Farm Kenya, your ultimate guide to the heart and soul of our nation's agriculture. Today, we embark on a fruitful journey into the world of fruit farming and horticulture in Kenya. We have an exceptional panel made up of a fruit farming expert and a horticulturist ready to share their knowledge and experience. We'll dive into the best practices of fruit cultivation, explore innovative horticultural techniques, and discuss the challenges and opportunities in this flourishing sector. Stay with us as we peel back the layers of fruit farming and horticulture in Kenya. In the meantime, let's have a look at what's making news in the agricultural sector. My name is Dennis Aseto, and this is Farm Kenya. Now, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization is urging farmers across the country to always make use of certified seeds for better yields, high returns, and tolerance to pests and diseases. Speaking during the launch of the 8th Mkulima Shop at the Kalros Seed Center in Thika, Kiambu County, Kalros Director General Dr. Eliud Krieger said that in an effort to change the way farmers cultivate their crops, the organization has been at the forefront in the production of climate-smart varieties as well as technologies that provide real-time advice on weather patterns and ideal crops for every season and region.
As the world grapples with the effects of climate change, crop farming in the country is one of the most affected sectors that has in turn induced food insecurity. To add salt to injury, the seed industry has been penetrated by unscrupulous people packaging and selling fake seeds, as well as inadequacy of certified seed for most crops, and where available, prices are exorbitant, keeping them out of reach to smallholder farmers. It is in this light that the research organization developed the Kalros Seed Arm.
Even if we give out all the fertilizers and you apply all the good management practices, without the right seed, production will still be very low. So to contribute to the food and nutrition security in the country, we have taken the initiative to ensure that we open Mkulima shops across the country so that our farmers can be able to access quality planting material. Mkulima Shop is a new concept whereby Kalros technologies that have been developed, whether they are seeds or seedlings or any other product, are sold to farmers. As you are aware, the biggest challenge that our farmers are facing is access to good quality certified planting material.
Kalros envisages to have 17 Mkulima shops spread out in various parts of the country. These include Amri Katumani, HRI Kandara, ICRI Mtwapa, Kalros Seeds Thika, HRC Kibos, Matuga, and Tigoni.
Last year, the drought has havoc because we are able to sell only about 1,000 metric tons. But this year we are targeting 2,500 metric tons, and going forward, because we have plans to expand our production systems, we have plans to irrigate so that we don't rely on rainfall. So we expect that in the next 2-3 years, we'll be hitting something close to maybe 4,000 metric tons.
Hapo miaka iliyopita, watu wengi wa mahindi walikuwa wanachukua mahindi ile ambao wametoa kwa ngara, ambao wanarudisha kwa shamba tena. Lakini wakati huu watu wa mahindi wanajua tukitaka mbegu tunaenda kwa soko, tunaenda pale kwa duka, tunanunua what is certified seed na tunapanda hiyo. That's why kwa mahindi tuko kama tuseme 90% certified seeds. Lakini kwa vitu zingine kama maharage tuko pale kama 5%.
Establishment of these shops will also provide farmers with opportunities for contractual seed production, leading to income, and also help promote the various varieties being grown.
This is an assurance that you are getting it from the people who actually build the technologies, who evolve the technologies, and you are there. This is not GMO, it is technology that is actually developed from our own country by our own researchers. So I want to encourage anybody who is actually passing through this road to Kandara, next to Thika Green, to actually drop by this shop and make sure that you procure.
It is something that has been researched on, done the adaptability trials, so we are able to advise a farmer, if you go and plant this in this area, it's able to grow, and this is the yield, and this is the market. So we have the technology, and also we are able to advise a farmer how to go about it, how to grow, and even how to market.
Farmers will be provided the opportunity to confirm the authenticity of the seeds they will be buying in these shops.
What I want to assure you is that the seed you buy from Calro is counterfeit proof, because there's a number which when you scratch, when you buy from Calro, if you scratch and send that number, it will tell you that this is original seed certified by KEFIS. If that number is not there, then you know that's counterfeit.
The Calro Seed Unit maintains all pre-released and released seed varieties in bred lines, as well as producing breeder, pre-basic and basic seeds. The foremost seed sector purchases breeder seeds, and the informal sector purchases basic seed for further multiplication. Seed companies using breeders or basic seed purchased from the Calro Seed Unit produce certified seed, stalks and seedlings. Reporting for KTN News, I'm Paul Thiongo.
And Kajiado County, traditionally known for its resilience on pastoralism, is now breaking new ground by encouraging the cultivation of indigenous vegetables. Now, the County Executive Committee member for Livestock, Fisheries and Irrigation in Kajiado, Jackton Achola, emphasizes the importance of this shift, particularly in the areas and in the face of changing climate conditions. In the ASOL, the county aims to address these challenges through the integration of strategy into its agricultural policies in collaboration with the Rural Women Network Africa. Leafy vegetables is not only means of diversifying income sources, but also a response to the challenges posed by climate change affecting these regions.
In the arid and semi-arid regions of Kajiado County, a quiet agricultural revolution is taking root, urging women, farmers and pastoralists to embrace indigenous vegetable farming as a sustainable alternative livelihood. The need to move away from the over-reliance on livestock becomes apparent as climate change continues to impact the availability of grazing land and water resources.
African leafy vegetable is one of the sources where we'll not only be in addressing the issue of food and nutrition security, but we are also actually addressing the issue of income generation. So we are actually here to ensure that we actually, through the processes which have been done, we want to ensure that we actually promote these vegetables through the 5 sub-counties. We have realized that the leafy vegetables not only cannot, there is no sub-county in Kajiado County where the leafy vegetable cannot grow.
Pauline Karaoke from the Rural Women Network says indigenous vegetables, commonly referred to as African leafy vegetables, have gained popularity due to their exceptional nutritional value. Varieties such as African nightshade or managu, amaranthus or terere, spider plant commonly known as saget, and slender leaf mito are becoming staples in Kenyan diets.
They have already started embracing, and we are not going to get tired. We're going to try to create awareness, which we are still doing. And women being the managers in the kitchen, this will not be difficult if we change the attitude and at the kitchen level. Then it will be, I'm sure, absorbed at the larger family level.
Ms. Karaoke says the push to mainstream these vegetables in Kajiado County is driven by initiatives targeting women's groups, aiming not only to improve overall nutrition, but also to provide alternative livelihoods.
In the Asaro area, these are mainly pastoralist communities. They consume a lot of meat, and the women are only in control of the milk. So when the animals move during drought, you find that the women have no source of income. So we came in and had a conversation with the women and looked at how we can address this issue, how they can still maintain their economic status when the animals move away, and also address the nutritional gap, because malnutrition is very high in this region.
Saa hii tunang'ang'ana tu na hiyo kazi, tunasoma hiyo watoto, hauna kitu, tunakaa tu namna hiyo. Saa nyingine watoto ninarudisha kwa shule, tunakuja kukaa nyumbani, tena tunang'ang'ana, tunarudisha shule, tunang'ang'ana tu namna hiyo. Lakini hii kikundi tuko na faida kwa sisi. Saa nyingine tunakaa wamama tunachagua kama 200 tunapeana mama moja kupeleka watoto shule.
The recent presentation of a Draft Africa Leafy Vegetable Value Chain 5-year strategy by the Rural Women Network shed light on the challenges faced by counties in fully embracing indigenous vegetable farming. Issues such as the availability of quality seeds, capacity building for farmers, and post-production holding storage were highlighted. Once fully ratified, the strategy promises to empower women's groups at the grassroots level at the ASAL communities.
One of the issues where we must start from is sensitization, because people have not known that actually these leafy vegetables, it can also grow in Kajiado, but can also be very nutritious. So we'll have to bring especially the groups, we want to bring the women into groups and ensure that we sensitize them and tell them that this thing is possible, and we'll do all we can through the station services, our staff, to ensure that this information is passed to the group.
With each leafy vegetable cultivated, Kajiado County is sowing the seeds of a more resilient and sustainable future for its people. For KTN News, I'm Paul Tiongo.
Now, the Ministry of Agriculture, through the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, has today launched an agricultural data sharing platform. The web-based platform will leverage the expertise of stakeholders to evaluate the current landscape of digital agriculture, including its key players across value chains. Currently, Kenya's agricultural producers lack contemporary techniques and decision support tools for sustaining and improving yields.
The Kenya Agriculture Data Sharing Platform, KADP, over the years, lack of data sharing mechanisms has resulted in a decline in farmer-based production and extension services. The lack of a data sharing mechanism has been occasioned.
And once we had this state-of-the-art ICT infrastructure, what we term it as the big data infrastructure for agriculture, the next thing was now to collect data around the stakeholder. And we were doing all this with a way to know what are stakeholders doing on their farm, what is their environment looking like, and also what is their market dynamics looks like. So we aggregate all this data, and you can appreciate the data aggregation process is not single-handed by a single individual.
For the government, they are able to use this information to either offer very specific advisories to the different farmers, offer e-voucher services, fertilizer recommendations to the right farmers, but also be able to know when to import if they need to import, where to channel more funding if they need to, so that all the farmers are equally supported for us to be able to feed our country.
And today we also wish to challenge all of us in this country that we get to be innovative, we get to have this as the way forward to go as a country. And most importantly, our youth who feel that they have been left behind in agricultural practices. Today is their day.
Now, Kenya's diverse climate and rich soils make it an ideal location for growing a wide variety of fruits and horticultural crops. Now, from juicy mangoes, avocados, and sweet pineapples to vibrant flowers and lush vegetables, our country's horticultural sector is blooming. But what does it take to succeed in this vibrant industry? In studio, we have Stephen Muhuha, a fruits and horticultural expert, and Lilian Muiruri, a fruit farmer from Kiambu County. Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana as we have this discussion on matters to do with horticulture. And I'll start with the ladies first. You know, it is only right to do so. As we talk about matters to do with horticulture in the country and the good weather that we have, I mean, what makes Kenya stand out when we talk about horticulture business, and not just in terms of agriculture, but agribusiness in the horticulture sector?
My name is Lilian Moirore, as you have introduced me. But I'm from Murang'a County.
Just so you know.
Yes. Kenya stands out in agribusiness because, as you can see currently, our country is the 5th largest producer of fruits, particularly avocados. So that makes that shows that Kenya has the potential. We have young people who can be able to get into farming, and we have ideal geological conditions to favor the production of fruits. Yes.
And as we talk about matters to do with horticulture, it is a sector that for a very long time has been looked at as something that is for the elite. A lot of people don't want to get into that. Farmers just want to do maize, beans. But horticulture is a sector that is also huge and growing though. So how do we then have this conversation with our farmers in making sure that they tap into this industry, this sector, this area of agriculture that is big and also is not only a market here, but outside as well?
Okay, thank you. Stephen Mahiuha has been introduced. So, okay, when we are talking about agribusiness and actually the opportunities that are there in Kenya, it is a big business because high value crops like we have sweet pepper, we have tomatoes, we have the fruits like avocados now, and then we have mangoes and all the others. In that particular area, the fruits as we know them. If you compare the maize and beans, because agribusiness now that we are talking about is we start from the market. What do I get when I produce this? If you look at an acre of, for example, of maize, if you look at the gross margins, you will be earning around 20,000 after a whole season of around 4 to 5 months. If you look at the same farmer who is doing tomatoes or who is doing sweet pepper in a greenhouse or who is doing avocado, of which I'm an agribusiness expert in the area, and also I know a lot about marketing because we also do buy the avocados. You'll find that 1 acre of avocados, a farmer may generate up to 500,000 in a year. If you look at a maize farmer now, if he does 2 seasons, which is 4 months each, he'll be getting only 40,000. So if you compare the 2 crops, avocados or that horticulture, so we are talking of pepper, we are talking of tomatoes, is making much more within the same period of time than this farmer who is doing beans or who is doing the maize.
And I come to you now, as you talk about horticulture, and is alluded to the fact that in terms when you're doing agribusiness, you look at what favors you best. And how do we then transition our farmers in not only, we don't want to get them from what it is they're used to, but you're telling them there is much more that you can do with your acre, because we're talking about smart agriculture and you're talking about agribusiness. Therefore, you can grow your maize, but you can equally do horticulture and equally get to reap more. So how do we have this conversation? How do we bring it to farmers so that it also makes sense to them?
A very good question. You find in the market, or the farmers themselves, they have started realizing what there is in horticultural farming. And when they compare what they are getting, the economic aspect of it, and compare, as he has said, with what they are able to get, it can be easy to win them. The most important thing is not to tell them, just do away with your maize and beans, because as we know, we also rely on them so much to feed our families. The best thing is to tell them, why not try an intercrop? You know, you can plant your, let's say, avocados or pawpaws, but you can look for ways of intercropping them, having them So you can get the best of both. You get the economic part of it from horticultural produce like avocados and passion fruits and pawpaws, as well as getting the other normal, ordinary staple crops that we usually use to feed our families. And the other thing, I think, there is a need to educate our farmers because they may not be having that information. So if we can have like agricultural officers coming and enlightening the public, the farmers, on how to go about it, because it may sound so difficult. Imagine you've been used to growing maize all your life, and then I come and tell you, oh, hang on, do you think you can do this and that? You know, there is a need to have debate out there. Talk to farmers, encourage them, impart knowledge on how to go about it, because initially something that you haven't done, it may sound difficult to do. But by having knowledge, because we say knowledge is power, educating them, there, you know, there is a lot there that can be done. And given that horticultural market, we have a lot of domestic market as well as international market. So if we can have farmers doing that, we can be able as a country to export a lot more and get a lot more dollars and pounds from these Western countries. So there is a lot that can be done. We can move from producing, for instance, avocados from number 5 maybe to even number 2.
You can actually top it.
Yes.
And I come to you. You've actually, I think that's a good place to come off, because you say you are an avocado farmer. And as we speak right now, if you go to countries like US, a single avocado goes to upwards of up to $50, which if you just do your math, you know how much that goes for. So, I mean $5, sorry. Now, if we do our math in terms of how much that goes for and the markets out there, I mean, you have been in this industry for quite a while. I mean, what ticks the boxes for you with regard to avocado?
Okay, now, avocado is one of the plants that has been introduced in Kenya for quite some time. Within the years of 80s, it was just a fruit for the dogs. So even if I would put it in Kikuyu, it would even sound a bit weird, but as people got enlightened and they knew the value of the avocado fruit, particularly within these years of 2000 going forward, they have realized that this fruit can actually have got so many uses, and it does not add cholesterol to the body. You know, that was the perception earlier on. I
used to think so. A lot of avocados.
But this fruit actually is very beneficial to the body because it fights what we think it would be adding. So that makes it and positions it into a very good map within the whole world. And then the other good part of it, avocado just grows in selected areas and selected soils. So most of the countries that we usually do export to cannot be able to produce the same. It is not like tomatoes, because now these days they can even do the soilless farming, or the so-called hydroponics and aquaponics. And for avocados, it is very hard for you to go and try that kind of farming. So they cannot compete with us in terms of where we have been geographically positioned by God. So this is one of the best opportunities that we have that could actually make us, actually most of the people are talking of it like the green gold in Africa. Because most of the countries that we have in Africa will produce this fruit so-called avocado. And now we have one of the best varieties called Hass variety. And this Hass variety is what we are talking about, is fetching quite a good money in those countries like America. We have a big market in France, Netherlands, and such countries. And if you look at what we are getting in terms of production, we are over the mark of around 10 million tons, the whole world. And in Kenya, we are above the mark of around 3 million tons. And actually, this production is still increasing because the government has realized the opportunity there. And through CARO, or the agricultural institutions that we have in place, plus the private stakeholders, They are all giving farmers like inputs, and also they are giving them the right extension to actually know that there is a big opportunity in avocado farming. And also they are giving free seedlings. Like Caro actually has been doing that, and even has personally through some private players, like in Eldoret, we have been giving seedlings through some of these people that I talk to, or the investors who are in the market of avocados. So once you give and empower these farmers and tell them now, why not start with like 5 trees? You give this farmer 5 trees, within 3 years, this farmer will get something from it. And from it, he'll be able now to actually go commercial. Because now, most of the avocados that we have, over 80% of what we have now is being produced by private farmers. Are those small-scale farmers, rather. So the big-scale farmers, like Kakuzi and the others, they are just not, they are not many because of the size of the land again. But if we tell our farmers that even though you have got a small size of land, there is much more you can get from this avocado in terms of finances, then they'll be able to embrace the crop. Because now, like, if you do it properly, one avocado tree can give you 200 to 300 kgs of kilograms of avocado. And if 1 kg or 1 kilogram is going for 100 shillings right now, or even more, you can earn around 30,000 per tree. So if you have only 5 trees, you'll have educated your children, you'll have had some, some money in your pocket to cater for your needs. And actually, that's why I'm saying it's a tick. Again, the other part of it, the input, because now when you're talking about agribusiness, we compare the inputs versus the output. The input you put into this venture, because it's a business, you have to look into what you're putting in and what is coming out.
And let me just come back to you. You are a fruit farmer. What has been your experience thus far? And when you sit with your peers, those doing the kawaida, let me say the kawaida agriculture that we know of, maize and beans, when you sit with them, what are kind of stories that you guys have in terms of, today I went to the market, I got this much. I went to NCPB, I queued for 10 hours, my maize was not gone. What is your experience in that area?
My experience obviously has a lot of rewards and challenges as well.
I can see you smiling.
It is quite rewarding to be a horticultural farmer. One, whatever you plant does not take forever to grow. Things like passion fruits and all that, they grow very fast. In 2 seasons, you start picking them. Things like avocado, well, they take a bit longer. But as I said earlier, you can intercrop them. So when you sit down with women and, I try to encourage them. I try telling them there is an economic opportunity here. Why not go for it? Yes, there are challenges involved because we get a lot of challenges especially with avocados. We get pests, conditions and all that. But every venture has its challenges. And we have to overcome those challenges to reap better. So when I'm with those women, I try to encourage them. Let's do this for the sake of our families. Let's engage in horticultural farming. There is more money there. There is business. There are opportunities because apart from, as I say, apart from selling to ourselves, what we can produce, eat locally, there is also an export market for everything that we can have. We can plant and grow. So farming is actually a very interesting venture, and there are so many people out there, women that I interact with. I really try to encourage them. I was talking recently to a group of young women who we went to school together. We call ourselves young, though. And we were talking of how we can venture because they have been interested into farming because they have seen the passion that I have. So we were talking and we were saying, oh, we can go to Nyahururu, buy a piece of land, and then we start. Why? Because there are so many opportunities. And there is also opportunities in terms of technology, innovation. Gone are the days we used to break our backs. I remember my mom used to, God bless her, used to do horticultural farming. We used to carry those doors with water to water the plants. These days, we are using drips. So it's not the back breaking, work kind of farming our parents used to do. It's more fun. It's really nice, even interacting with nature. Imagine those avocado trees looking around, it makes you feel really, really good. It's refreshing. So I would encourage women. I used to live in the UK some years back. And sometimes you realize we have people who have gone outside the country, but there are so many opportunities in our country that we do not really embrace. One, we don't need that piece of land to buy. You can actually go and lease it. You lease like 10 years. Like 10 years. In 10 years, it's 100K because it's 10 per year. If you can lease a piece of land and you plant things like even plantain, bananas, in 10 years, you will live big because every year, an acre of plantain, you are assured of $1 million and above every single year. So if you have to, and you get bananas, those bananas you sell every 2 weeks, you can imagine how much you can make. If you can intercrop that as well with other things, you make use of your farm in a better way. There are opportunities, and I would encourage those people who are out there and those who are planning to go. Let's try what we have first before we make quick decisions to go abroad and then only to come back after some years. And I believe we are the people who can bring economic change in this country.
Let me just ask a cheesy question. For how many years were you a summer bunny? That's a conversation that we shall be having after this short commercial break. But when we come back, I'm going to be coming to you as we have a discussion on matters to do with the expectations and requirements for these crops, for our horticultural, talk about our fruits. What is needed internationally for us to take there? Because I know there are regulations, matters to do with the chemicals that we use. How has that affected the market, and what farmers need to know? That we shall be having that conversation after this short commercial break as we find out how best we can encourage our farmers to tap into the horticultural business, get into smart agriculture, horticulture business, and make that big buck, because agriculture is the way to go.
Unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima kuwa mshindi. Kuwa na uhakika sasa, kulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
IPOA exists independent of the police force, independent of the state. We therefore think they are the best body for such actions that we want to take, i.e. including more civilians.
If you're going to the people to whom this violence is being meted out to, they come in with anti-police sentiments already within them because they're especially targeted due to their status in the society.
We think to the point it becomes judge, executioner, and jury, it's bad for the rest of the people.
That pressure, right, of civilian oversight, it is necessary to direct it towards government. And you're going to lose a lot of that energy when you're going to just focus entirely on the police officers who are protected by the state.
Sensitized T9 gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Habari njema, mchezo mpya kushinda hela umewasili. Tazama Utuzwe ni mchezo rahisi na njia haraka ya kushinda hela ukitumia simu yako. Kuwa mmoja wa mamia ya washindi kila siku. Jishindie kuanzia shilingi 20,000. Ni rahisi. Deposit kuanzia shilingi 20 hadi 99 kwenye paybill number 145656. Account number KTN. Shinda sasa hivi. Draws na washindi kila hour. Kumbuka, deposit kuanzia 20 bob hadi 99 bob kwa paybill number 145656. Account number KTN. Na unaweza kujishindia hadi 1,300.
It all begins with a single step. This is Game of Ninja!
I really like it.
Get ready for the ultimate television experience where entertainment, inspiration, and information collide.
Unajua si kila mtu akona moyo baridi kama wewe.
From heart-pounding dramas.
How can you be so shameless? You've brought this woman into our house despite what happened?
To laugh-out-loud comedies.
Jinga kabisa, utakufa maskini ndugu yangu. You will die hungry.
To adrenaline-pumping sports coverage.
Ni moto!
With a diverse lineup of programming curated to entertain, educate, and engage.
Yes! I have nothing more to add.
Unajua kila mtu huwa na ndoto na huwa na maono.
KTN Home is your one-stop shop destination for quality television.
What's happening? Talk to your wife.
I asked you, are you happy?
So why settle for anything less?
It's been a wonderful experience.
DJ Tatua. Join the millions of viewers who have made KTN Home their preferred choice for entertainment.
And that is what we mean by a wholesome, cutting-edge entertainment show.
KTN. Welcome home. This week on Manspective Africa.
When they fall apart, we say marriages are under attack. I like how Christians like to see demons everywhere. But you know, marriages are under attack. But you're barely doing enough to stop them from being under attack, you know.
You self-sabotage in relationships. You sabotage yourself in professions. You're supposed to apply for a job. You didn't. You know, you just didn't. For no good reason. When men view pornography over time, they become so habituated to the use of pornography that they cannot easily get aroused by a woman.
I feel like it's very easy to empathize with women than it is to empathize with men.
Yeah, because from a natural point of view, men are dispensable. Nature builds us to be dispensable.
Only on KTN Home.
Joro, bado uko bank?
Yes. Nakam 2 minutes, sawa? Sasa mtu ana request alafu anarudi na zima simu.
Can I send you to my mom? Yeah, ako Dubai.
Stacy.
Umesikia niko na haraka? Ndakupatia 1 star. 1 star.
500. Pesa ni mambo ya dunia. Nimekulipa na baraka. Ati wewe alipa gani?
I'm not paying you nothing.
Ngoja. Wewe. Ngoja.
Ndio nabeba watu wa ina gadi hawa.
And thank you for watching and welcome back as we continue to have discussions around horticultural farming here in Kenya. And on set with me is Stephen Mahuha, who is a fruits and horticultural expert, and Lilian Muiruri, who is a fruit farmer. And before we went on break, we were talking about matters to do with how good the horticulture sector is, especially fruit farming. And as I talk to you now. Let's go to the fact that as we get to look for international markets, there are requirements, not only international markets, but even locally, there are requirements on how we get to do business. And this brings now the conversation on the chemicals that we use, the pesticides that we use. In terms of farmers understanding what to use and what not to use, is that information out there?
Okay, well, it's one of the, it's a tricky question, though, very good. Because now we are dealing with the small-scale farmers. And most of these small-scale farmers, we are coming from an era when all the farmers we know from our perception, if I am young, I've come from, I'm a graduate from a university, I should not stay in the village, I should go into town to look for jobs, actually the blue-collar jobs. So most of our people who are farmers, one, they might not be educated. Secondly, there are a lot of barriers in terms of their know-how. The extension officers that we used to have from the Ministry of Agriculture, because I know, because I've interacted with them closely, there are very few. You might get that one officer is serving over 3,000 farmers, or even more, even down 10,000 in some areas. So this agricultural expertise cannot be able to go and tell each and every farmer, this is the day you should be spraying your produce, this is the chemical, this is the PHI level. PHI. PHI is the pre-harvest interval of a chemical. For example, if you have a chemical like belt, it might be written that you should not consume the fruit until 14 days are over. So that is what we call the PHI. And most of these farmers don't understand that. So you'll find a farmer, even what you are consuming in the market locally here. A fruit will have been sprayed today and tomorrow it is in the market, because now this farmer needs money. So when any person who is offering money comes in, the first information for this buyer to look at, he will not be asking the records of the chemical sprayed. He'll be looking at that good fruit and the orders that he has to satisfy in the market. So one, our buyers need, actually, if it is the local market, because it's not as regulated as what we have in the Europe, we need to have such kind of regulation that any buyer must ask the records of the chemicals that have been sprayed, because what we are consuming even here locally might be poison. And that has been happening particularly in the areas where people grow tomatoes. There was a case of a pest called Tuta absoluta, and people were using a chemical meant for cattle dip, because it is very effective on the fruits or the tomatoes. It also happens with mangoes. In Kenya, we have the problem of fruit fly. If it is avocados, we have the FCM, false coloring moth. So this farmer is not enlightened enough, and he might go with his chemicals and spray. And again, there's the other challenge we are talking about of intercropping. Most of our farmers now, you'll find, because of the small sizes of land, he'll have intercropped coffee, he has passion fruit, he has sukuma wiki on the same plot. So when he sprays sukuma wiki, some chemical is actually going through the drift. When it is weedy, it goes to the fruits that were not meant to get the chemical. So there is a lot that needs to be done, particularly when it comes to the local market in terms of the regulation, because now, if you look at the international market, they are very particular through what we call the KEFIS, or Kenya Health Inspectorate. So they have a proper requirement. If they get just one worm, even though it is flowers, you don't eat flowers, but even though it's flowers, you cannot be able to export such a consignment once they detect a worm or a caterpillar in the same. So I think we need to be vigilant even in the local market, because we are giving our people poison. Actually, we are feeding on poison. And that is why you have a lot of diseases coming in like cancer. Because Dennis, if you live here in town and every day you go to the market, you just tend to look at the fruits and you select the best, the one that is very smooth and, best color, looks nice. But there is a lot that needs to be done for you to know where it comes from. That is called traceability. In America and some other European countries, they talk of traceability. You can be able now to trace back your product from the very farmer who produced the crop or the produce. The way it is done is that if I am a farmer from Karatina, for example, and I am registered, there is what we call global gap certification these days. You will be registered as soon as you are able to fulfill the requirements that are there for export products. One, they may tell you now you need to have a clean toilet where you should wash your hands if you're working on the farm and the produce that you have before you do anything. Because now that is a hazard, or it is a hazard at critical point. It is a point where you can contaminate the fruits when they are before they go to the market. So for you not to take these flu or even these diarrhea or anything, you know, those pathogens that may contaminate the fruit, you need to wash your hands. You need to even look at your nails when you're handling the fruit. You know, you go to our pack houses, those are the regulations. If it is the hair, it should be covered. So there are a lot of, if it is chemicals, you have to keep the records. Today I have sprayed a chemical called Belt. The active ingredient is imidacloprid. This imidacloprid will go for 14 days. So if these records are well kept, anybody who is coming to buy the fruits will first inquire on the records. And actually now, to be able to control that particular kind of those regulations, there are audits. If I am a buyer from Europe, or I may actually request for a GPS. If you say that I need a GPS for a certain farmer on random, for example, you say, this Mr. Dennis, I need to know his GPS. This Mzungu will not be telling you when he's visiting the farmer. So he'll just do a snap check, go check at the records, check on all the regulations to ensure that what you are telling him coincides with the records you are sending on the other side.
And you see, you've raised something very critical in terms of, if you look at these developed economies, something as simple as having a toilet, washing hands, is very critical. And if you just walk up here close to Wote, it is a farm full of mangoes, but there is no toilet in sight, which brings back the question of requirements when we get for us to be able to ship these outside. But I come to you, Lillian, now. As we talk about our crops that we've worked so hard to farm for them to meet the international standards, but there is always the question of the market. The farmer needs to access the market because that is the bread and butter. But there is a question where nowadays you find we always have these middlemen with their lorries whenever it is almost season. Like right now, we're almost getting to the mango season, and we'll see a lot of trucks going Mombasa Road to Wote and Ukambani to get those from the shamba. Get them at a cheap price, but sell them at very expensive prices to Kenyans. Therefore, how do we then deal with the middleman problem in the country so that the farmer gets to reap big, because they are the ones who put in the hard work to get that crop that looks delicious?
A very good question, because after working so hard, what matters next is what am I getting? And unfortunately, in our case, in Kenya, as we have said, we have so many middlemen. And this is where the government should come in to help this, to help us as farmers. How should the government come in? Market is very, very important. But we have a challenge, as my friend here has put it. We have small holders who are producing these fruits. And bringing them together is the key. Like in Muranga, we have started cooperatives. And these cooperatives will come in handy. Why? Because all farmers, some farmers will come together, form a cooperative, and when they form cooperatives, it's easier for the government to start looking for the market. But I would urge the government to help farmers or come up with ways of making sure that this is done fast than it has ever been. Because you find even today, farmers are still struggling. You work so hard, you get very little. But if with cooperatives, people come together and it's easier for them to get a market. But there is one thing I will say. I've been trying to sell this idea to farmers, avocado farmers close to me. But the idea they have of cooperatives is the coffee cooperatives. And those cooperatives, coffee, they were used to oppress the farmers. So they are not, and as he has said, some of them are not so well educated. It becomes very hard to convince them because they are a bit morally served. Because they do not know if we form these cooperatives, will they turn out to be like coffee cooperatives, which have really been used to oppress the farmers. They do not get the money they thought they would. If it's those cooperatives, you have so many people there, officials, who have been there for like 20, 30 years. If you have been there for that long and there are no changes, what are you doing there as an official? So the government can come in handy to help those people, to help the farmers, form cooperatives, look for market, and help those farmers sell their produce at a premium price. The other thing is there is a lot of, the government can come in because of theft and vandalism. It's really, really crippling the situation. The farmers are work so hard on their farms, and then you get people who come and pick your crop. So basically, you do not have, you end up having nothing. That can also affect the fact that, the issue of brokers. These brokers are also targeting those people, some of them, not everyone. Some of them, they buy fruits so cheaply. And when they buy them so cheaply, there are people who out there, young men, women who are not working, and they can easily go to farms and get products or produce like avocados and sell them. Where I come from, we have small shops, which have mushroomed. Not where we have companies, where companies come and buy fruits from farmers. So you find there are small shops who I can take 5 kilos, 10 kilos, and you do not know where they came from. And most of those fruits are actually stolen. They are not coming from farmers. So that is also a challenge. But the government can come in handy to help the farmer by also making that we have security. I don't know how, I know it's a bit difficult, but I don't know how they can handle that to ensure that the farmer is getting the benefits of their produce. Yeah.
And I want to come to you in terms of the crops that we have right now. Whilst we can grow our crops, make them ready for international market, let's talk about avocado, for instance. Avocado, we can sell it as a fruit, but you can equally get avocado oil from it. There is, if you also ask the ladies, they love the avocado face mask and all that. So with all these value additions that do exist just in avocado farming, how important is it for the government to tap into this sector, value add on these crops, so that even as we are shipping outside, we are equally having products that we can use locally and probably even give the farmer more because we are value adding on the crop?
Okay, I think that is a discussion that has been there, and all through we have been having meetings with farmers and our leaders, even the ones in parliament. They have been trying to registrate some of these laws. But what comes in as a challenge is that in between the implementation of the project, a lot of money is wasted. And you find most of these factories, for example, if you go to Nyandaro, you'll find they'll have a white elephant of, for example, I'm not saying it's the case, it is just an example. You'll get a white elephant, a factory that was meant to be like 10 years ago, but somebody who came in misappropriated the money that was meant for this particular factory. So you'll find from that side, the government initiative is there, but the implementers is the problem. So corruption in itself has denied us a lot of chances in that particular industry. Because now even when it comes to coffee and tea, we have been talking about the same story, that we are going to do variation, we are going to sell a complete product, we don't have to go to dormants in Europe, you don't have to go to this. But that has been the key problem. What I can say, the challenge can actually be solved through the private investors. And luckily enough, like in the avocado industry, we have so many industries doing the variation. If you go to an area like Thika alone, we have more than 10 companies doing oil. If you come here in Nairobi, there are so many, they could be as many as 50 of them. And actually now, if you go to the industries when it comes to avocado industry, because of the demand and supply loss, and the industry is free, it is not interfered with like we have in coffee and tea, because I believe what is ailing this country is the cartels, in quotes. So if we do away with the cartels and let the business thrive on itself because of the normal forces of lower supply and demand, then we could have all these products into place and we would not be complaining of the same. So I think the government now, the first thing to fight with is the corruption. Because we have a lot of industry. Like now, if we talk of, let me go a bit to something like sugar that we just revived the other day. There are so many billions that were given, I think 700 billion or to that tune, to revive the coffee sector, the sugar sector. But if you look at those, industries have been there. But some people now came in and they looted the factories. So we have the infrastructure. We have the industries in place. But the way they are managed actually has a lot of questions that we are left to be asking. So on that side, on the government side, let the sector be governed on the demand and supply basis, and let the private investors come in because of what they'll be getting from those industries. Today, if you were to privatize like the Mumias or the other many other industries we have in Kenya, you would get that farmer is getting whatever he gets. Because now, tell me, why is it that an avocado farmer will be getting 100 shillings per kg today, and a coffee farmer is getting around 50 shillings, whereas we know coffee is very expensive? It's because now the industry has not been left to actually there are no enough incentives in that kind of industry, or there are cartels in quotes. So let there be forums and let the farmers now do their own marketing, because now if it's an avocado farmer, I'll go and buy the avocado directly to him. And because there is I won't get anything from anywhere else. It's an Kenyan avocado. Kama muko wawili, if you are two only selling the avocados and you are 10 buyers, the prices have to go up. So I think that is one of the key areas that we need to address those issues when it comes to government and the incentives. And they are good incentives. Actually, the government has always had good policy papers, and it has always had goodwill for the Kenyans, but there are few rogue people who actually go and they root. And whatever was meant to help generations becomes a waste. So that is the biggest challenge that we have when we have those sectors being regulated by the government. Otherwise, they are doing a lot.
Horticulture is a segment of agriculture that needs to be embraced by all. But even as we talk about that, there are challenges that need to be addressed. We reckon that it is a business that is big out there. But how are we approaching it? Also, in terms of mixed farming, in terms of fruit farming, how do we go about it? What are some of the recommendations? All that information coming after this break.
tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja. Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Mamilivi rahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila awa. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account KTN. Amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka Mita. Kuwa bingwa.
Let's do this.
Sasa mimi naweza wapi na masufuria? Suite wanaume waza kwa kusaidia.
Kumbe ndo utakuwa mjogi.
Nigonge uniue baba, siona mimi sikufai.
Wewe ndo mamangu.
Aibu.
Press Cafe Banga, banga, banga. KTN Home welcomes you to the ultimate entertainment extravaganza. We've got the hottest shows and the biggest stars. Get ready for a television experience like no other. The perfect balance of excitement. KTN Home. Welcome home.
Joro, bado uko bank?
Yes. Nakam 2 minutes, sawa? Sasa mbona request alafu narudi na jema simu?
Can I send you to my mom? Yeah, ako Dubai.
Stacy.
Umesikia niko na haraka?
Ndakupatia 1 star.
1 star.
500. Pesa ni mambo ya dunia. Nimekulipa na baraka. Ati wewe alipa gani?
I'm not paying you nothing.
Ngoja. Wewe. Ngoja.
Ndio nabeba watu wa ina gadi hawa.
This week on What's Your Story?
The incomparable Dr. Manoj Shah.
Life is a journey full of learning till you stop. Never stop learning, because learning is what keeps you going. Learning is what takes you to where your destination is.
Keep dreaming.
Yes, keep on dreaming and dream with your eyes open. Your dreams will come true.
That's beautiful.
We continue with the invigorating conversation around his autobiography, 1 in a Million.
A brand new season of The Arts of Living is here. You will not believe whom we have in store for you this season.
I usually buy during a sale, but I'm also a very hard negotiator.
Their homes are nothing short of magnificent, exquisite, and unique.
I think it just brings out that girlish era that I am in.
This season, the bar is raised.
Once I started floral, it just seemed to be themed all over.
Take a vicarious journey with me and let's discover, explore, and engage.
Kuwa na uhakika sasa. tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja. Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la Farm Kenya.
Thank you for watching Farm Kenya. And now, as we continue with this discussion, I just want us to get into the Farm Guide segment.
Wow, as you can see, not all oranges are orange in color. They all look different, but they are so sweet. Orange is the richest source of vitamin C. This vitamin is essential for immune system function, where it helps the body to absorb iron from the plant-based food. Therefore, our bodies cannot produce this vitamin C by itself. We are all required to have it on our table. That means on our diet. So how regularly do you have the orange or any kind of fruit on your table? On our today's segment, we are at James' farm, where he has different mixed fruits. With me is James, the owner of this fruit farm. Hi, James.
Hi. Karibuni.
Asante sana.
Yeah, this is our farm here. This area is called Iwai.
Okay.
And specifically this place is called, other people may refer it at Manyata. This is where we are farming. We have this farm of fruits. And we have all manner of fruits here.
Oh yeah, so I can see there are so many fruits, different fruits, kind of fruits. Now, why did you choose to have a mixed fruit farm in one farm?
Because I understood that the soil here is very good with all fruits. You can do any fruit. And I have proved it to be true because I have avocados, and you see it's producing many. I have oranges, and I have lemon, I have paipai, and I have apples and mangoes, all in the same farm. Also I have pumpkins and sugar canes also, and banana trees.
Wow, wow. It's a lot in one land. So, with me, I have two different oranges. I understand this is from your land.
Yes.
And this I got somewhere else. So what could be the difference between the two?
This is different. Oh, they are different in nature. And there are those oranges. They don't turn orange yet they are ripe.
Okay.
Like these fruits, even when we started eating them, we used to think they were not ready. Opening done, we saw they are ready. And they are very sweet, even sweeter than the orange one.
Oh,
yes.
Because in the market, okay, personally, I usually check for the orange one. I don't select the green one.
When you don't find orange one in the market, take the green one.
They are sweeter.
They are sweeter.
So how long have you been to this kind of farming?
This is 2-year job. It's not long enough. It's a 2-year job.
Okay.
When we go to the land here, you will see amazing. Like you find many fruits. Yeah. Like now the season of them, it is over. But next season, if you come, you can get all manner of fruits here.
Okay. So also this is the orange one?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you harvested some in those two years time?
Yeah. No, we had already eaten the first fruit from these trees. So we are only waiting for the coming now. Yeah.
So you've eaten the first, which is the lemon?
Lemon, orange, and now this is lemon.
Oh, yeah.
This is lemon.
So they're all citrus fruits,
Yeah, citrus.
So which are your favorite from all the fruits that you have?
Orange. Oranges. Yeah.
Why do you love oranges?
I like. I know they are rich in vitamin C, and I generally love citrus fruits because they are all good with the vitamin C.
Okay, here I can see we have a mango tree. Have you harvested mango?
Yes. it's season. We have harvested some from this tree and another tree, and they are green. We eat to produce the big ones. We enjoy them.
How big?
They're not big, this size. Yeah, big, this size.
Okay, do you do this kind of farming for the economic purposes or it's for home use?
It's for both. If production is much, we sell.
Have you sold some before?
No, we only had them for domestic use.
Oh, okay.
But they are yet to mature to bring much fruits. Yeah.
Now, what happens that at home, because you have said so far you have for domestic use, what happens if you have excess? Maybe excess lemons, excess oranges?
Share with the neighbors and family members that we don't live with.
Oh, yeah. You call them at least to have some.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm used to seeing a taller orange tree. But when we come to your farm, the case is different. It's short. What kind of breed is this?
This is because of this is the grafted trees. When they are grafted, they don't grow as tall as the original trees.
Okay.
Yeah, and they produce when they are still very young. They are quick to produce. The grafted ones.
Okay, as short as it is.
Yes.
So does it mean that the harvesting period or the size it will produce, it's different from the taller one?
Yes, even the size. Yeah.
That means the shorter it is, the smaller the size, or?
No, the smaller the size. The size of a fruit bed or the feeding of the tree. If the soil is fertile, it will be big fruits. It will give big fruits.
Okay, not the size.
On the soil, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about other type of fruits? Do you have the same breed or?
Yeah, we have some grafted. Others just original, but we generally love to have grafted.
Like this one is?
It's also a grafted, this one.
It's a mango?
Yeah, this is a mango tree.
Okay.
Yes.
And also that one, eh?
That
but
one.
You can see the size is different.
Yeah.
But they're all grafted?
They are all grafted. Other tree that are affected by grafting is avocado. Your avocado tree can be a very large tree, original ones. When it's grafted, you have a reasonable size. Yes.
The same size as this?
And they can be bigger than this, but not as large as a normal size of. You see the original one, they grow to a huge, big bush. Yeah. When grafted, they don't grow to that much.
Okay, so how do you take care of the pests and diseases?
Yeah, we spray. When we see they're infected, we buy for the insecticides, and we spray them. We spray them. We take care of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who control the pests and diseases?
It's by applying the spray. We spray them. Yeah, occasionally.
Occasionally. Like how?
No, we spray when they appear to be insecticide. Yeah. Okay. When they come, they attack the leaf, and it turns black, or otherwise, then we spray. You can see how green they are because they are already clear, no pests. Yeah.
The fertilizer you use, eh?
I have not used any fertilizer on this farm. I'm using the manure.
Oh, manure from
pigs. Yeah, I use manure from pigs.
So you've not used any kind of
fertilizer at all. Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing. Yeah. So a farmer can trust that kind of natural manure.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, here we have. What is this?
That's apple tree.
Apple tree. Oh. So this is apple fruit, eh?
Yes, that's an apple fruit.
Have you harvested it before, or it's the first?
No, these are the first fruit. They are the first fruits.
Oh.
I told you, they are not very old. They are only 2 years. So the third year we are assured of great harvests of fruit.
Yeah, definitely. We are sure of that. Also, the breed is grafting?
This was kind of original. That's why you see it is branching so many. You see,
And even it seems like it's going to
it's branching
to
so
be
many.
a taller plant.
It's even turning to be a bush.
So it's different from the others.
The main requirement in this kind of area, cotton soil, black cotton soil, is water. Once you have enough water, you can grow any fruit. Yes. There are many things you can grow in the cotton.
Water is essential.
Yeah, it's essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you maybe tried one of other type of fruits which did not do well here?
Not yet. Because what I have already planted, they are doing well.
The watermelons?
Well, I tried watermelon. That one, watermelon, I did not succeed. It did not produce well. I think maybe it's me who did not know how to grow. Yeah, but the melon does very well here. You don't need it to plant. You just need to eat a fruit and leave it there. It will germinate when the day comes. And you're going to have fruit.
Okay, and also I can see there are some bananas here.
Yeah, bananas have been doing very well. In fact, the only fruit that was planted, and before the year was over, we had harvested.
Wow.
So we keep on eating from this. They are quick. Yeah. You know, you plant one tree, and it has branches, suckers. It was only one that you see it has many. But it produces regularly.
How regularly?
After every 3 months, we're almost getting a big bunch of fruit, bananas here. Yeah. So as regular as.
So since you've got different kind of fruits in your farm, what are some of the challenges you've faced?
Well, I can say the only challenge is when you don't have enough rains, because fruits will not do well. Although we do try. When they're young, we water them. When there is long drought, we water them. Yes. So it's only the long drought that brings us a challenge that they can't produce when they don't have well waters.
There is a farmer somewhere want to start such a farming, a mixed fruit farm. So what advice can you give to them?
It's good to look for agriculture specialists. They can tell you, they can assess your soil, and tell you what exactly you should grow in that area in order to have a maximum yield of your fruits.
Very well, and welcome back. Now, as we continue to have this discussion as Stephen and Lillian, we continue to talk about the mixed planting, mixed cropping of these fruits. Now, is it advisable for us to continue doing this? And if so, which crops can we intermarry and plant together?
I think it is good to intercrop. One, we do not have enough space to cultivate everything that we want. So some crops can be intercropped, but it's good that the farmer should know that there are some crops you cannot intercrop. One time I made a mistake. I'll give myself as an example. I decided to plant butternuts. And I had avocados in the same farm. And they did well, but they could have done better. Because the pests that attack avocados, they also attack
butternut.
I was doing it as a pilot to see whether in future I could plant many of them. But I realized that was a no-no. So it's true you can intercrop, but not everything that can be intercropped. You need to think about the pest, the vectors that could affect, that could transport diseases to the crop that you really value most, or that could be bringing a lot of income to you. So some of those things you have to really consider. You can intercrop, but not everything. But maybe my friend here is better off explaining what kind of crops one can intercrop in order to get the best, in order to get the best outcome.
And Stephen, there's a farmer here who's called James Gathura, who's practicing mixed cropping, yeah? And his biggest question is, what works with what? Like Lillian has rightfully said, she made that mistake once. So how do we know that if I plant this crop, the pests probably would be eaten by these other crop that I'm doing, so they are complementing each other?
Okay, there are various parameters, or actually various things we look at. For example, if it is avocado, there are crops like there are crops like tomatoes, like potatoes, which usually get Fusarium wilt. And Fusarium wilt at sometimes will be affecting also the avocados. So like these two are not very good when you are doing avocado farming, if we are talking of such a crop. But if you are to do any crop that is within the legume family, or actually the beans, we have, if it is ukabani, they usually do some others like the peas and some others. All these that come from the leguminous family, they will add some nitrogen to the soil, and that will actually be a plus to the crop. Again, if you look at avocado farming or any orchard, most of the trees usually prefer, or actually they like an environment where you have mulching. Mulching is one of the conservation tillage methods where you conserve your soil, the moisture in the soil. So after you harvest your beans, what you'll have as waste, or the chaff, can actually later be used to cover your crop at the bottom. So the two are complementing one another. They are projects that are complementing one another, and in other ways, they are helping you also reduce the cost, because if you do a cover crop like beans, beans are not as, they don't go as high, so they won't put some shade. That's another factor. If you do a tall crop like maize, actually the shade that is after, if the sun comes from this side, there are some hours that your fruit will not be getting your the sunlight. And actually, any crop, for it to grow during the day, there is what we call photosynthesis. For it to occur, we need the sun. So if you cover your crop, all the leaves that are being covered are not making food for the crop. So you might get, one, the quality of your fruit would be worse, because now most of the pests will prefer to hide in that kind of canopy. And one, it becomes damp, it becomes a bit dark, and most of the pests like the FCM, phoscodroid moth, and as she has shared about that family of the pumpkins and the butternuts and the likes, they are liked by pests like the white flies. We have the phoscodroid moth, which are very notorious when it comes to avocado production, or even talk of the other fruit trees. So, and fruit fly, if it is in mangoes and such. So, if you intercrop such a crop, you are giving a good, a conducive environment for these pests to flourish. Because if it is, the leaf of a pumpkin is a bit broad, and most of the time they cover the ground totally. They are soft and they have a lot of water. So something like what she was talking about, I think that was the case of fruit flies and phoscodroid moth. That is the best environment to breed, because a bird from the whatever, when we are doing the production these days, we talk of integrated pest management. You're not only applying the chemicals to control your pests, but also there are other biological factors like the birds. We have the wasps and the others. These wasps will not be able to locate that caterpillar which is under the leaf of a pumpkin. So that becomes a very rich environment for them to flourish when they are not being seen by these other factors that are helping you to control the pest. And Actually, it is very unfortunate because even when you are doing the chemicals, when you are spraying, for example, you might spray your butternuts to control the pests. Along the way, you will be affecting a beneficial pest, a beneficial insect like the ladybird, which is helping you again control these mites. We have the mites that actually will be preying on your plants. So we need to integrate all these methods. We use the biological, the cultural. You make sure that under the trees, if it's possible, make sure that you don't have the debris or these old leaves of the crop, so many of them, which are not sprayed. If you have to keep them, first spray them, because now some of them will harbor some of these eggs. And most of these pests will have the 4 cycles. They will go from egg, they will go to larva, pupa, and then adult. So all these stages, you need to know that they will depend on the cleanliness of your orchard. If the orchard is weedy, you have a lot of weeds, you're not controlling the weeds, it has other crops in there, that is the right environment for these pests. And they will build up very fast and you will not be able to control them.
Now, it is a question of working together with professionals out there, finding out what chemicals to use, but equally just using what God gave you. Use wasps, use the birds, use the bees to control the pests that are there to destroy your crops. But even as we have that discussion, I mean, let's just go through the stats that we have right now. That is, now Kenya is one of the leading exporters of cut flowers, providing around 35% of all cut flowers in the EU market, and horticulture is one of Kenya's largest sources of foreign exchange. Now here is a question of all these good things that come with horticulture in this country, yet we have these challenges. So I just want us all to have a discussion on matters to do with call to action to the government and relevant agencies, to all the middlemen who are there, both good and bad, and also the farmers, on how we can work together to make sure that horticultural business is doing good, because we've all united to make sure that it succeeds. Let's start with you, Lilian.
A very good question. I believe, as we say in Kikuyu, with one finger, you cannot kill a tick. So it takes each and every one of us, those people involved in farming, the farmer, the broker, the companies, to make sure that we work together as a team to make sure that farming works. How can this be done? It can be done using the necessary agents within the government, like the county government. We know agriculture now is devolved function. So the county governments, with the national government as well, because the national government is about policies, coming up with policies that will aid in making sure that farming works the way it should work, working with the county government to make sure that the farm inputs.
So we have the farmer here, get these brokers, those we are calling brokers, we convert them into agents. And then from there we get legislative laws. We legislate laws that such that nobody will be buying unless he's attached to a certain company. One, we shall be able to nail the issue of theft. Secondly, we shall be able to give the farmers the right prices. And the farmers will be well guided, even when it comes to extension, because we cannot rely only on the government, because we don't have enough officers. Most of these companies, once we do that, I know most of these companies like Kakuzi, they have been offering extension to farmers. We have so many of these players, because now they also require quality produce. So because I need the quality produce of my farmers, or registered farmers under my name or my company, I'll make sure that they produce what I want. And actually most of these people, they will go to the farmers and tell them this is when you should be spraying this is when you should be pruning this. They have a schedule. So in such kind of a coordination, I think we will change the whole industry.
And Stephen, I've heard you mention 2 areas, Karatin and Nyeri. I assume you're from Nyeri.
Yeah.
Yes. Just to make sure. But even as we have this discussion now, it is a question of how do we come together to make sure that horticulture business is a winning business and a game changer for the farmers out there. How do we have this conversation such that we all come on board, tap into this business, tap into this sector that has potential of changing our lives? As Lillian has rightfully said, she was in the UK for 11 years, decided to come back home because there are opportunities here. And Stephen on the other side, working every single day to make sure that we are winning together. And it's only through uniting, government doing their part, national and county governments coming together, all the brokers being turned to being agents, the only way we will make this sector work. Asanteni sana for making time here. My name is Dennis Aseto. This is Farm Kenya. And as always, we keep bringing you these segments and conversations that will make the farmer happy. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Asante sana.
Kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima, kuwa mshindi, kuwa